Picture this. It's 2026.
Right.
You're a construction business owner. You've got crews on the ground, schedules are slipping, you've got materials to track, and just a million moving parts to manage before you even pour your first cup of coffee.
Yeah, standard Tuesday.
Exactly. But if you operate in California, New York, Washington, or Ohio, the regulatory rulebook you've been playing by just got a massive, highly punitive update. I mean, the landscape hasn't just shifted beneath your feet, it's completely fractured.
It really has. We're looking at an environment where the margin for administrative error has just practically vanished.
Gone.
Completely gone. State governments and federal agencies, they are no longer just sending polite warning letters with, 30 days to comply. They're deploying serious financial hammers. They're bringing operations to a screeching halt for noncompliance. Ignorance of these active laws is just no longer an option if you want to keep your doors open and your crews working.
And that is exactly our mission for today's deep dive. We're going to break down these new 2026 construction compliance requirements, unpack the steep new fines that are rolling out, and most importantly, we're going to talk about how you can actually survive this.
Right, because you can't just hire your way out of it.
Exactly. The answer is not just hiring 10 more back office administrators to push paper. We're going to look at how to use modern tools to scale your operations without drowning in a sea of paperwork. And just to set the stage, today's insights are pulled straight from recent state legal updates, OSHA's 2026 guidelines, and comprehensive market intelligence.
It is a heavy meal to digest, for sure, but it's absolutely critical for anyone signing paychecks in this industry. If we look at the overarching theme of these updates...
The big picture.
Right, the big picture. It's all about total accountability and forced digitization. The days of flying under the radar with, paper forms and a filing cabinet from 1998 and handshake agreements, those days are officially over.
Yep.
So let's transition right into the state-by-state breakdown. Because we really need to be clear here, these are not hypothetical legislative proposals. These are active laws with real business-ending consequences.
Okay, let's unpack this, and let's start with the biggest financial hammer out there right now, which is California.
Oh, yeah.
The state is doing this wildly aggressive crackdown. They're rolling out 7 new laws that completely change the game. And here's where it gets really interesting, or maybe terrifying, depending on what your current payroll setup looks like.
Terrifying is probably the right word.
Right. The Attorney General now has the explicit power to step in, to sue, and actually revoke a contractor's license simply over unpaid wages.
Which is just a staggering escalation in enforcement. I mean, we aren't talking about a simple fine for a payroll mistake anymore. Losing your license means losing your livelihood.
It's game over.
Literally game over. They're treating wage theft, and get this, even accidental unpaid wages due to just administrative sloppy work.
Yeah.
They're treating that as an existential threat to your right to operate. And it doesn't stop there. The financial penalties across the board are skyrocketing. Take workers' compensation minimum fines, for example. We're seeing a massive jump. The minimum fine is now sitting between $10,000 and $20,000.
Let's put that in perspective for the listeners. For a mid-sized subcontractor, let's say you're doing a $500,000 job. If your margin is tight, an unexpected $20,000 hit doesn't just sting, it completely wipes out the profit margin on that entire project.
You essentially just worked that job for free.
You worked for free and took on all the risk.
Precisely. And they're also targeting unlicensed work with the same ferocity. Effective July 1st, the penalty for unlicensed work is jumping from $200 to $1,500. They are making it incredibly painful to operate outside the lines. And it's worth noting, according to Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence Report, these 7 new laws represent a major compliance burden for small firms.
Oh, absolutely.
The sheer administrative weight of ensuring every single wage is meticulously documented and every worker is properly covered, that is going to strain traditional back office operations to the breaking point.
Which brings us to New York. The administrative burden there is taking a slightly different shape. New York is executing a massive paperless push. So if you're doing public work out there, you really need to listen up. The electronic prevailing wage payroll mandate is now active. This is not a drill.
Right. And let's clarify exactly what that means. If you are an Article 8 contractor, meaning you're building schools, paving state roads, doing any public work in New York, You are now required to submit certified payroll electronically every single week.
Every week.
Every week. The state has completely eliminated paper filing. You can no longer mail in a stack of forms or, hand deliver a manila folder to a compliance officer. It has to be digital and it has to be perfect.
And it isn't just a simple digital timesheet, right?
No, not at all.
We're talking about submitting full worker info, exact prevailing wages, and detailed fringe benefits. Because we all know prevailing wage math is notoriously complex. You've got union dues and specific benefit allocations.
It's a nightmare to track manually.
Right. So if your current system involves a project manager trying to decipher muddy field notes from the dashboard of a Ford F-150 on a Friday afternoon and then manually typing them into an Excel spreadsheet, you are going to fall behind incredibly fast.
You'll be paralyzed. New York is essentially forcing the industry to modernize its payroll infrastructure. They want data they can instantly audit, not paper they have to manually process.
Well, tense from their end.
It does. But while New York is focused on the paper trail, other states are focused on closing historical loopholes. If we connect this to the bigger picture, state legislatures are getting much, much smarter about how contractors try to evade penalties.
Which leads us perfectly to Washington State and House Bill 2136. This one takes effect January 1st, 2026, and it specifically targets the classic new LLC escape route.
Oh, the old shell game?
Exactly. We all know the old trick. A company gets hit with a massive fine or a severe safety violation. They realize they can't pay it or they don't want to pay it, so they dissolve the LLC on a Friday. They file some new paperwork over the weekend, and magically they reappear the next week with a new name.
Right.
But it's the exact same ownership, the same excavators, the same crews. Everything is identical except the name on the truck.
It's the Phoenix Company maneuver, and Washington is shutting that door completely. Under the new law, sanctions and debarment will now automatically extend to what the state calls substantially identical companies.
Meaning they're looking at the actual operations.
Exactly. If the leadership, the assets, or the operational structure are effectively the same, creating a new LLC will not shield you. The penalties will follow the people and the equipment, not just the piece of paper that originally incorporated the business.
That's huge. They're looking right through the corporate veil. Now let's pivot and talk about Ohio, because we really need to inject a serious sense of urgency here for anyone listening in the Midwest. Ohio has a new E-Verify mandate, and it is effective March 19th. For anyone checking your calendar right now, that is only 9 days away.
9 days to completely overhaul your hiring verification process if you haven't already. And just as a quick refresher for everyone, E-Verify is the federal web-based system that confirms employment eligibility.
Right.
This new law applies to all non-residential contractors in Ohio. You must use E-Verify for all new hires. But what's truly fascinating here, and what should put every single business owner on high alert, is the enforcement mechanism.
This is the crazy part.
It is. Ohio is relying heavily on anonymous complaints.
Wow. Anonymous complaints. So think about the reality of that on a day-to-day basis. A disgruntled former employee you just fired, or maybe a nosy neighbor next to the job site, or here's the scary one, a direct competitor who just lost a major bid to you.
Oh, absolutely.
They could literally pick up the phone out of spite, make an anonymous report, and trigger a full-blown state audit of your HR and hiring records.
Exactly. I was just talking to an industry consultant last week who said this exact scenario is keeping owners awake at night. The vulnerability there is immense if your records aren't bulletproof. You cannot afford to have gaps in your compliance when a comprehensive audit can be triggered so easily and unpredictably by someone who doesn't even have to leave their name.
So we have all this state-level chaos. But what's happening at the federal level? Because OSHA is also making major moves for 2026, and the entire philosophy of how they operate is shifting, isn't it?
It's a fundamental shift. They're moving away from random luck-of-the-draw inspections toward highly targeted, data-driven inspections.
And Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence Report highlights a major shift in OSHA 2026 enforcement, specifically regarding increasing silica exposure enforcement and the expansion of electronic injury and illness data submissions.
Yes. That shift from random to targeted is crucial to understand. In the old days, an OSHA inspector might just be driving down the highway, see an unshored trench or a guy on a roof without a harness, and pull over.
Right, a drive-by inspection.
Exactly. That still happens, of course. But now, OSHA is analyzing the electronic injury and illness data you're forced to submit to actively identify the riskiest job sites and companies. Their algorithms are pointing them directly to your address if your data flags you as a high-risk operator.
And with that increased focus on silica exposure, any contractor doing concrete cutting, grinding, or masonry needs their mitigation plans documented perfectly. But wait, we can't forget about OSHA's new walk-around rule, because this is a massive, highly controversial change.
Oh, it's shaking up the whole industry.
During an inspection, the new rule allows third-party representatives to accompany the OSHA compliance officer.
Right. It used to just be your superintendent and the inspector walking the site. Now that means a union representative, a community activist, or an outside safety consultant could potentially be walking your site alongside the inspector, actively pointing things out.
This raises a massive question for every contractor listening. Is your site ready for that level of intense, multi-party scrutiny? Imagine having an environmental activist walking your site with federal authority, looking for violations. The days of just hoping your superintendent can charm the inspector are over. You need to be completely airtight.
Absolutely airtight. So what does this all mean for you, the construction business owner? It means we need an action plan. We've laid out the threats. Now let's talk about getting compliant and staying profitable. First things first, you need to audit your current processes against these new requirements immediately.
Yes, the immediate action items are clear. If you operate in New York or plan to bid there, you must set up electronic payroll systems today. No more paper. If you're in Ohio, you have 9 days to review and finalize your E-Verify enrollment for all new non-residential hires.
And across the board, based on Smart Business Automator's Market Intelligence Report, contractors must actively update their safety programs to maintain readiness for OSHA's new targeted inspections.
Okay, let's play devil's advocate for a second. Construction is notoriously old school. If I'm an owner listening to this deep dive, I'm thinking, great, the government wants more paper, but my guys in the field hate paperwork. They're swinging hammers, not typing code.
Right.
And if I have to hire 5 new back office administrators just to feed this compliance beast, my overhead explodes and my profit margin vanishes. So how do we actually solve this without just creating a massive new administrative burden?
That is the million-dollar question. You cannot solve 2026 regulatory problems with 2010 administrative methods. Hiring more people to push paper isn't scaling. It's just inflating your overhead until you break.
Yeah.
The only sustainable way forward is leveraging technology, specifically artificial intelligence, to automate the compliance and administrative heavy lifting.
Right. And that's why we really need to talk about the tech solution designed for this exact headache, Smart Business Automator, or SBA. This is an AI-powered platform built specifically for construction companies to scale without being buried in admin work.
It's brilliant.
But let's ground this in reality for the listeners. Instead of just listing software buzzwords, let's talk about how this actually changes the day-to-day chaos on a job site. Let's start with what I call finding the needle in the haystack, which is document management.
Document management is usually the biggest bottleneck in any firm. So, Smart Business Automator features smart document organization. It automatically tags, sorts, and categorizes your photos, plans, permits, RFIs, submittals, and daily reports.
So no more hunting.
Exactly. Imagine OSHA is standing in your trailer demanding to see the silica mitigation plan from 3 weeks ago. Instead of a project manager sweating bullets, digging through nested computer folders named Final Drawings version 7, actually final.pdf, the team finds exactly what they need instantly.
That alone lowers the blood pressure.
Doesn't it?
And it pairs with something called document intelligence. Think about the hundreds of pages of specs and drawings on a mid-sized commercial job. SBA's document intelligence actually extracts important details from those specs and drawings.
Which is huge.
It is. Your teams can review information faster and catch critical items they might otherwise miss, like a specific material requirement that could cause a failed inspection if overlooked.
Which is invaluable for compliance. Moving on to communication and search, the platform features natural language smart search across all project data. If Ohio asks for your E-Verify records, you don't hunt through emails, folders, or spreadsheets.
You just search for it.
You just ask the system for what you need using normal language, like you're Googling a recipe, and you get immediate answers.
I want to talk about fixing the field-to-office disconnect, because the daily log and meeting summaries feature is a total game changer. We all know how field reports go.
Oh boy.
A superintendent is exhausted at 5 p.m., sitting in the truck, typing out a long, rambling summary of the day's issues on a cracked iPad. SBA takes those raw, messy field reports and meeting discussions and uses AI to turn them into crystal clear summaries with key takeaways, action items, and next steps.
It transforms chaotic field data into actual intelligence. And speaking of that, look at how it handles RFI assistance. Requests for information are notorious for delaying projects. They're where schedules bleed to death while you wait for an architect to reply.
Right.
Smart Business Automator generates draft RFI responses using historical project context, project documentation, and existing records.
That's incredible. It's like having a digital assistant that has read every single email, spec, and document related to the project over the last year, and it drafts the perfect, context-aware reply for you to just review and hit send. It drastically speeds up communication.
Now let's talk about looking ahead instead of looking behind risk and project health. Because a $10,000 workers' comp fine is bad, but a schedule blow-up can cost hundreds of thousands.
Very true.
SBA offers schedule risk detection. It reviews your schedules and project activity to identify possible delays, bottlenecks, and risk areas before they become unfixable problems.
So it allows for truly proactive project management. If a specific trade, say the drywallers, is lagging by 2 days, the system flags it early so you can intervene before it derails the entire critical path and pushes back the painters, the flooring guys, and the final inspection.
Exactly. And it does the exact same thing for the money with budget and variance insights. It identifies budget changes, cost movement, and variance trends early. Leadership can make decisions with better visibility into exactly where the money is bleeding on a daily basis.
Which is essential right now.
Furthermore, when changes do happen, which they always do, the platform provides change order impact analysis. It evaluates how a change order may affect timelines, cost, and execution.
That's huge for protecting your margins. You can respond strategically and communicate the impacts clearly to stakeholders, ensuring you aren't accidentally absorbing the cost of a delay that wasn't your fault.
Right.
It rolls all of this up into project health monitoring, giving teams a clear, unified view of overall performance tied to schedule, budget, documentation, and coordination.
But if we bring it back to our main topic today, Bulletproof Compliance Smart Business Automator really shines. It features automated report generation. It can generate internal updates, project summaries, executive reports, and operational overviews automatically.
Just automatically.
Completely. This drastically reduces reporting time and ensures total consistency across the company, which is exactly what a state auditor wants to see. Consistent, flawless data.
And it takes it a step further with compliance and spec checking. The AI reviews project information against specs and requirements to help teams catch gaps earlier. It reduces oversight risk before it becomes an expensive stop work order problem. Like, if California mandates a specific safety protocol on a site, the system helps ensure your documentation proves you're meeting it.
To tie it all together, there is an AI project assistant. It acts as a project or assistant across all active jobs, answering questions, retrieving information, summarizing activity, and supporting decision-making for your leadership team.
Now, the pushback I always hear is I don't want to completely rip out my accounting software and start over. But the reality is, you don't have to change how you do business to use it. SBA offers custom AI workflows that can be tailored to your specific company's processes, whether that's routing documents, triggering alerts, or supporting unique operational workflows. Plus, with API and system integration, it connects smoothly with your existing accounting software, ERPs, and field tools.
That integration is key. Information moves smoothly without manual data entry. When we look at the big picture, Smart Business Automator is fundamentally changing how construction companies scale. It removes the massive amount of manual coordination required as a business grows.
Yeah.
Project managers can handle 3 projects instead of 1 because they aren't buried in administration. Field and office teams stay aligned, and leadership gets unprecedented visibility across multiple jobs without hiring a dozen new compliance officers.
So let's bring this all home. The core theme for you as a construction business owner is this. In 2026, relying on a filing cabinet full of paper forms, manual spreadsheets, and trying to hide behind old LLC loopholes is a guaranteed recipe for massive business-ending fines.
Without a doubt.
The regulatory environment has changed. Survival, and more importantly, scaling in this new landscape, requires proactive digital compliance.
If you enjoyed this deep dive, please take a moment to subscribe on your preferred platform. Leave a rating and review to help other contractors discover these insights, and be sure to share this with colleagues or your management team, because everyone needs to be on the same page. To see exactly how AI can protect and grow your operation, you need to visit smartbusinessautomator.com.
I'll leave you with one final, provocative thought to mull over as you head out to the job site today. We talked about Ohio using anonymous complaints to trigger enforcement, and OSHA heavily expanding their electronic data submission requirements to algorithmically target their inspections.
Right.
We are rapidly entering an era of total visibility. There's nowhere to hide anymore. So ask yourself, will the future of the construction industry be defined by who builds the fastest or who bids the lowest? Or will it be defined by whose digital footprint is the most bulletproof? Think about it. Keep building, stay compliant, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.